the 628th year of our unification, it is hereby recorded that Eurasia has been burned by dragons, in accordance with the treaty ending the separatist movement. Those who fled survived, and those who did not return remain entombed in her ruins. Public notice 628.85, transcribed by Cecilia Neal-Wart. Chapter 1, Iron Flame. Revolution tastes oddly sweet. I stare at my older brother across the scarred wooden table in the enormous BBC kitchen of the fortress of Eurasia and chew the honey biscuits he put on my plate. Damn, that's good. Really good. Maybe it's just that I haven't eaten in 3 days since the not-so-mythical being stabbed me in the side with a poison blade that should have killed me. It would have killed me if it hadn't been for Brennan. I didn't stop smiling as I chew. This might go down as the most surreal experience of my life. Brennan is alive. Venom and dark wielders that I thought only existed in fables are real. Brennan is alive. Eurasia still stands, even though it was scorched after the Tirish rebellion 6 years ago. Brennan is alive. I have a new 3-inch scar on my abdomen, but I didn't die. Brennan is alive. The biscuits are good, right? He asked, snagging one from the platter in between us. Kind of remind me of the ones that Cook used to make when we were stationed in Cold Ear. Remember? I stare, chew. He's just so him. And yet he looks different from what I remember. His brownish red curls are cropped close to his skull instead of waving over his forehead, and there's no lingering softness in the angles of his face, which now has tiny lines at the edges of his eyes. But that smile, those eyes, it's really him. And his one condition being me eating something before he takes me to my dragons. That's the most Brennan move ever. Not that Tarn ever waits for permission, which means, I too think you need to eat something. Don's low, arrogant voice fills my head. Yeah, I reply, kind, mentally reaching out for Andana again as one of the kitchen workers hurries by, offering a quick smile to Brennan. There's no response from Andana, but I can feel the shimmering bond between us, though it's no longer golden like her scales. I can't quite get the mental picture, but my brain is still a little groggy. She's sleeping again, which isn't odd after she uses up all her energy to stop time, and after what happened in Resson, she probably needs to sleep for the next week or so. You've barely said a word, you know. Brennan tilts his head, just like he used to when he was trying to solve a problem. It's kind of creepy. Watching you eat is creepy, I counter. After I swallow, my voice still a little hoarse, burned. He shrugs shamelessly, a dimple flashing in his cheek when he grins. It's the only boyish thing left about him. A few days ago, I was pretty sure I'd never get to watch you do, well, anything again. He takes a huge bite. Guess his appetite is still the same, which is oddly comforting. You're welcome, by the way, for the mending. Consider it a 21st birthday present. Thank you. That's right, I slept right through my birthday, and I'm sure my lying in bed on the brink of death was more than enough drama for everyone in this castle, house, whatever it's called. Zayden's Kazism Bodhi strides into the kitchen, dressed in full uniform, his arm in a sling, and his cloud of black curls freshly trimmed. Lieutenant Colonel Azarai, Bodhi says, handing a folded missive to Brennan. This just came in from Basgaius. The ride will be here until tonight if you want to reply. He offers me a smile, and I'm struck again how closely he resembles the softer version of Zayden. With a nod to my brother, he turns and leaves. Basgaius? Another rider here? How many are there? Exactly how big is this revolution? Questions fire off in my head faster than I can find my tongue. Wait, you're a Lieutenant Colonel? And who is Azarai, I ask. Yeah, because that is the most important query to make. I had to change my name for obvious reasons. He glances at me and unfolds the missive, breaking the blue wax fifth seal. And you'd be amazed how fast you get promoted when everyone above you continues to die, he says, then reads the letter and curses, shoving it in his pocket. I have to go meet with the assembly now. Then finish your biscuits, and I'll meet with you in the hall in half an hour and take you to your dragon. All traces of the dimple of the laughing older brother are gone, and in their place is a man I can barely recognize, an officer I don't know. Brennan may as well be a stranger. Now waiting for me to respond, he scrapes his chair back and strides out of the kitchen. Sipping my milk, I stare at the empty space my brother left across from me, chair still pulled out from the table as though he might return at any moment. I swallow the remaining biscuit stuck in the back of my throat and lift my chin, determined never to sit and wait for my brother to return again. I push up from the table and head after him, out of the kitchen, down the long hall. He must be in a hurry, because I can't see him anywhere. The intricate carpet bubbles my footsteps along the wide, high-arched hallway as I come to. Whoa! The sweeping, polished double staircase with their detailed banisters rises 4 more floors above me. I've been too focused on my brother to pay attention earlier, but now I blatantly gawk at the architecture of this enormous space. Each landing is slightly offset from the one below, as though the staircase climbs towards the very mountain this fortress was carved into. The morning streams in from dozens of small windows that provide the only decoration on the 5-story wall. They seem to form a pattern, but I'm too close to see the whole of it. There is no perspective, which pretty much feels like a metaphor for my entire life right now. 2 clouds watch every step I take, but make no move to stop me when I pass by. At least that means I'm not a prisoner. I continue to stride through the main hall of the house, eventually picking up the sound of voices from a room across the way, where one of the 2 large ornate doors is pitched open. As I approach, I immediately recognize Brennan's voice. My chest tightens at the familiar timbre. "It's not going to work," Brennan's deep voice echoes. "Next suggestion." I make it through the massive foyer, ignoring what look to be 2 other wings off to the right and left. This place is astounding. Half palace, half home, but entirely a fortress. The thick stone walls are what saved it from a supposed demise 6 years ago. From what I've read, Arrhiasson House has never been breached by any army, even during the 3 sieges that I know of. Stone doesn't burn. That's what Zayden told me. The city, now reduced to a town, has been silently, covertly rebuilding for years right under General Melbourne's nose. The relics, the magical marks of the children of the executed rebellion officers somehow lasted from Melbourne's signet, and they were groups of more than 3. He can't see the outcome of any battle they're present for, so he's never able to see them organising to fight here. There are certain aspects of Ryerson house from its defensible position carved into the mountainside to its cobblestone floors, steel reinforced double doors in the entryway that remind me of Paskaya, the war college that I've called home since my mother was stationed there as its commanding general. But that's where the similarities end. It's the actual art on the wall here, not just busts of war heroes displaced onto stands, and I'm pretty sure that's an authentic Poramish tapestry hanging across the hall from where Bodhi and Imogen stand in the open hallway. Imogen puts her fingers to her lips, then motions for me to join in the empty space between her and Bodhi. I take it, noticing Imogen's half-shaved hair has been recently dyed a brighter pink while I've been resting. Clearly she's comfortable here. Bodhi too. The only signs that either of them have been in battle are the sling cradling Brody's fractured arms and the split in Imogen's lip. "Someone has to state the overages." An older man with an eye patch and a hawkish nose serves from the far end of the table that consumes the length of the 2-story room. Tufts of thinning grey hair help frame the deep lines in his highly tanned, weathered skin. His jowls hang down like a wildebeest. He leans back in his chair, placing a thick hand on his rounded belly. The table could easily accommodate 30 people, but only 5 sit along one side, all dressed in rider black, perched slightly ahead of the door at an angle, where they'd have to turn fully to see us, which they don't. Brennan passes the front of the table, but not at an angle where you can easily spot us either. My heart lurches into my throat, and I realize it's going to take some time to get used to seeing Brennan alive. He's somehow exactly the same as I remember, and yet different. But here he is, living, breathing, currently glaring at a map of the continent along the wall. The map's size is only rivaled by the size of the one at the Baskai Battlebreed Lecture Hall. And standing in front of the map, one arm leaning against a massive chair as he stares down the table at its occupants, is Zayden.